I'm already checking things off my list using this goal challenge. Sitting out here with this little bee, I wrote 60 goals that I wanted to accomplish in the next 12 months. I then condensed them down and wrote them on 36 pieces of little paper. I then folded them up teeny tiny and put them in this jar to take them out. And I challenged myself to plant 3 in my garden every day until I only had 3 left. This was a fun way for me to reflect and go over my goals for almost 2 weeks because I didn't do this every day in a row. It was also a meditative time in my garden that I spent it also reading and doing a little journaling. Day 3 of planting my 2026 goals, and I am committed today because it is currently 26 out as I'm doing my evening chores. I actually had to yell at the dogs because they were barking, and I have a guest here, and I dropped this entire jar of my goals. So these were the last 3 that I didn't pick up back up. 1, 2, 3, and we're just gonna plant those in the ground. I write a little in my journal. I read a manifestation book, which is currently the Prayer of Jabez. It is day 5 of planting my goals into my garden. So far 15 goals. It's currently 35, definitely not the coldest that it's been. So 2 days ago it was 25 when I was out here. But this is what I'm doing. So I have my little goals here. Here's an area of my garden. This is a whole row that I have not cleaned up from the previous year. Oh, too many. 3 every day till I'm left with 3. And they're going in my garden. I'm just planting them in the ground. And then while I'm out here, I do a little bit of journaling, which is part of my goals for the year. And then I do some reading for manifestation or law of attraction. So today's reading is The Secret. I'm in the second to last day of planting my goals for 2026. And today's planting went into the new garden beds that I am putting above my greenhouse. I have been planning on these garden beds for the last at least season and a half. But this year it is going to happen. I first have to fence off this area up here, which is one of my goals, and kind of fence this off so I don't have deer coming in here and eating everything. It is right next to Cow, which got a huge bale of hay down next to her barn. She got a big round bale, but she's already bored of it. So I just planted my little ones in here because this is a goal. And then tomorrow, which is my last day, I'm going to be in another garden section, new garden section. I'm on the last day of planting my goals in my garden. And for today, to plant these last 3 goals, I'm doing it in the area next to my pavilion. This is my educational pavilion that we got a grant from Visita to accomplish for classes and such. And I plan to, in this space right here, which is eventually a goal for another educational space or like a greenhouse event space. But for this year, I want to plant zinnias and sunflowers here, and it just be a whole patch of flowers. So this is where I'm going to plant my last 3 goals. Okay, this dirt is not as like nice and composty as the actual dirt in my garden spaces. But now we get to see what my last 3 goals. These are my focus goals. It's like the planting the other ones, those are kind of left to the universe. So we're going to see these are the last 3 of my focus goals. And I wrote down a total of 60 goals, but some of them were in steps. So with this, I gave most of those to the universe to provide for them to come to be, either to give me opportunities or ideas or whatnot. And what this served for me is for the past days that I have been planting my goals. When I do that, I also read a law of attraction book and I write in my journal. So in doing that, it's kind of quiet time. It's kind of like a meditative time. And then I'm also focusing on all the goals that I wrote down, which was 60, some of them in steps. And then I kind of condensed those into 36 written down goals. So let's see what my final focus goals are. Show gratitude and be aware of others and write it all down in my journal. That was actually goal 36. Isn't that crazy? That was one of my last ones. Again, you have to show gratitude for the things you have in order to gather more. So isn't it weird that the universe would say, hey, I'm going to provide these other things as long as you show gratitude for what you have? Okay. This one is number 5. Clean out the storage and Greer, which is a top priority to get done here in the first part of 2026. I've had a storage unit down there now for almost 3 years that has a great number of things in it, and it's on a priority list to do like soon. And this says get it done. So this is telling me I need to do that in order to open more doors. So, okay, I hear you. All right, last one. And that was goal number 5 on my goal list. And then this one is, wow, this is a big one. Plan, grade, and build the lodge cabin and pay for it with money that I get from content, or essentially a lot of through my wing strategies. So that was goal number 19, and that's technically a $200,000 goal, which is my cabin that's been on my refrigerator that I want to build here on the lower part of the property. It would be a / rental space / eventually move-in space. So that's a fairly substantial one, and it ties to it an income goal. So something to think about and work on that I need to handle. Which, given a conversation I just had on the phone, maybe I know why that conversation went that way and why that was a goal. Anyway, it's amazing how the law of attraction works when you start implementing this stuff in play. I'm rereading a book, and one of my goals is to read 10 books this year that are focused on my goals. So I will be doing another video on just what books are on my list of things to read. And anyway, how exciting.